And it was when I came back that things had changed. The town itself hadn't changed. I remember driving into Mullumbimby in 1981. It must have been April '81, and I stopped to buy a packet of cigarettes at the Popular Cafe. And I tell you, I walked into that cafe and I thought time had stood still. Nothing has changed since '74 when I last stood in this cafe. Exactly the same. I swear to God, the same people were in there, almost. Nothing has changed. I'll never forget that. And then we drove on out to the property and had to, you know, then I built. We made. That was when I got into mud brick making, and Donnie had built the first mud brick building in Maynarm. Was his Donnie McCormack's Donnie. It's still there to this day. Wonderful sewing machine frames for windows, and he did one thing that wasn't quite true to form, and that was he used cement for the mortar. He didn't quite dare use mud. Anyway, we set to, we made lots of bricks, and I built an extension to my house there. Started that in '81, and it took me 3 years to sort of get it together in the sort of way that I do these things. But we built, that was the first mud brick, serious mud brick building in Maynarm. That I put together there, and on the strength of that, I eventually got a job with adult ed, teaching people how to make mud bricks and build mud brick buildings. Not that I have any qualifications as a builder at all. And so it was then, and it was very much that we come back to the property again. It was a sort of, you know, I was in my 30s now. It was 10 years later, and to drop out. I had 2 children. I had 3 children by then. Brought the kids back. My oldest boy, Sebastian, who had been the 10th one to start at Durumble School in 1973, was just starting high school. He went off to high school in Mullumbimby High School. My daughter was second year of primary school, went down to Durumble, which now had about 40 kids in it. What horrified me most of all about coming back to this shire was the brick veneers, the brick houses. You know, driving up Maynarm, driving on Currabell Ridge, driving around the shire, with all these brick monstrosities. There weren't any brick houses there in those days. They were all wonderful old timber farmhouses and all the old bales. The bales has all disappeared, and you've got these bloody brick houses sticking around the countryside that just look awful. They really do. And it was different. And where I lived in Cooper's Lane, there was one person who drove past my front door to get to his house. Apart from the banana farmers who'd trundle up and down to their bananas up there, Victor Heidi had the property up the back of us there. And when I came back, I'll never forget standing outside my house, and I couldn't believe my eyes. A taxi drove up the road. A taxi drove up the dirt road in Cooper's Lane. I couldn't believe it. It was just incomprehensible that anybody in the old days, in the early 70s, would actually ever take a taxi. It was just unheard of. No one had the money to take a taxi. And anyway, you just hitched or walked, you know, and somebody took a taxi. They brought their shopping home in a taxi. And as I say, living up past me were, well, I can say now, in 1996, there were something like 36 houses. There was one in 1973.